What's happening, Bolts fans? Rachel West and Ed Encina out here at Amalie Arena getting ready for the Lightning's home opener. And it's got to be good for them to get back home because they've been on the road these first 3 games, went 1-2, struggled a little bit.
Yeah, you're right, Rachel. When you really think about this season so far, they really haven't been at home that much. Even going back to the preseason, going to Nashville because of the hurricane, started off the season on the road, and they didn't play well. There's no talking around it, and there are a lot of phases that they have a lot of area to improve on, whether it's, the power play, whether it's, just possession time, teams outshot them pretty heavily, especially in New York and Pittsburgh. Face-offs, they've been pretty bad at. So a lot of places that they can improve on here. Obviously, it's just 3 games in, but it's good to get in front of the fans here at Amalie Arena. That can kind of pump you up. John Cooper said it as we talked to him. There should be no real motive. You don't have to pump anyone up for this one. The home opener is always something that everyone is really up for, and playing in front of your home fans. It's really the first time that they played a meaningful game here since Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final.
Yes, not one that they want to remember too much. Move on to tonight. The other thing about them is they got a pretty new group here. A lot of fresh faces, new guys on the blue line, offensively. So how have you seen things coming together?
Well, it's kind of a process here, especially on the blue line. Obviously, we know that the big, change here is try to replace Ryan McDonough. You also lost Jan Ruda. Zach Bogosian's hurt us beginning of the year, and even now it's a little bit in process here. Today we'll see Ian Cole for the first time after he comes back, is reinstated from his suspension. Philip Myers is hurt. He'll be out. Cal Foote, who took a blocked shot in the Pittsburgh game, he'll be back. He didn't practice yesterday, but was out here today for morning skate. And we're going to see Nick Purvis for the first time. He'll make his NHL debut. And, he's one of these guys that we knew we were going to see him eventually, but we're seeing him probably maybe a little bit earlier than we thought. But, again, they're still trying to figure out, what the right pairings are. And then even, on the power play, it's interesting to see Vladislav Nemestikov and his return back. He's on that first power play unit now, replacing Alex Killorn. So a lot of moves. This is a time of the year where you're still trying to figure things out, and the Lightning are doing that right now as they try to, find better hockey, try to show that they're a better team here.
And even though they have been struggling a little bit, even though it's still very early, there have been some bright spots. So what are those?
The one thing that really stands out, obviously, is the continuation of Steven Stamkos from last year. He just basically carried on what he did last year in that 106-point season. 4 goals in the first 3 games, goals in each game. Now, the other side of that is that he's actually scored 50% of their goals. So you need a little bit more, you need a lot more contribution amongst the other lines. And in the second game, he moved from that first line to the second line, still was given that, still scoring goals. You'd like to see that first line with Hagel, Point, Kucherov really kind of start to come in. They have had good shifts, and they've had, a lot of opportunities. Kucherov leads the team in shots. But you really kind of want to see that thing go. And then I think combine that with the way Stamkos is playing and leading that second line, then I think it all kind of trickles down there offensively. But also the goaltenders have actually been really well too.
Yeah.
Both Andrei Vasilevskiy and Brian Elliott have kept this team in games early when they were allowing a lot of these odd man rushes and a lot of these turnovers. Brian Elliott allowed 5 goals the other night. That did not indicate how well he played. And Vasilevsky's played obviously well in both of his starts the first 2 games. So, but your goaltenders being your best players 3 games in probably isn't a good indication that your offense is really working. So That's really what they've got to work on.
Not ideal, but do you have a good feeling about tonight? I got a good feeling about tonight.
I got a good feeling about tonight. The Flyers, they won both of their games this so far this year. Get to see old friend John Tortorella on the bench. But yeah, this is game 4, but it's an important game for them. They don't want to drop down, 1-3. They want to get points out of this. You can't. There's not too many home games early in this stretch. I think 2 of their first 9 games on the road. So you really want to get points here, and you don't want to get too lost down in the pack and down in the bottom of the pack, because that can really catch up with you early.
Just don't want to dig yourself into a hole.
Nope.
But fans are going to be buzzing in here tonight. It's the start of the 30th anniversary celebration that they'll be celebrating all season.
There's nothing like opening night, Rachel.
There's nothing like opening night. You got to love it. So make sure you guys are keeping up with all of our great coverage that we've got for you on opening night and everything else Lightning related over on social media at Sports by Tampa Bay Times, as well as over at tampabay.com.